Imagine waking up one morning and your entire digital world is gone. Facebook, blocked, Instagram, gone, WhatsApp, TikTok, YouTube, all banned overnight in Nepal, and just days later, millions of young people flooded the streets. At least 19 were killed. Hundreds were injured. Schools turned into protest sites. Ministers were forced to resign. So what really happened in Nepal? And how did Gen Z, the youngest generation, start a revolution that shook their government? To understand this, let's go back to early September 2025. The Nepali government passed something called the Directives for Managing Use of Social Networks. It ordered all major social media platforms, like Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, and YouTube, to register with the government. If they didn't register, they would be banned completely. The government claimed it was to regulate harmful content. But for Gen Z, it felt like censorship. Because for them, social media is not just entertainment. It is their voice, their career, their income, their identity, and frustration was already boiling. Youth unemployment is around 40%. Almost 25% of Nepal's economy depends on remittances. Politics is filled with corruption and nepotism. So-called Nepo kids flaunt wealth, while ordinary youth struggle for jobs. The social media ban became the final spark. The protest jumped from screens to the streets. Thousands of teenagers and young adults marched through Kathmandu, Lalitpur, and Pokhara. Many came wearing their school uniforms. They carried handwritten placards. They demanded an end to corruption, unemployment, and digital censorship. The government responded with tear gas, with water cannons, with rubber bullets, and even with live fire in some places. Clashes erupted near Parliament. Police barricades were broken. Internet blackouts were imposed. In just a few days, at least 19 young people were dead. More than 300 were injured. And curfews were declared across several districts. But instead of dying down, the protests kept growing. Because this was no longer about social media. It had turned into a youth revolution. The government started to panic. International media began covering the story. Human rights groups condemned the violence. On 9th September 2025, the government lifted the social media ban. The Home Minister, Ramesh Lakak, resigned, and Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli faced growing calls to step down. The protests slowed down after that, but the message was clear. Gen Z had forced the government to retreat. This movement is historic. It was leaderless. It was decentralized. It was purely youth-led. No big political party organized it. It was coordinated through memes, trends, and secret group chats. It shows how powerful this new generation can be. They do not just consume content. They create pressure. They hold power to account. They have shown that democracy is not just about voting every 5 years. It is about speaking up every day. This was not just a protest about apps. It was a protest about dignity, opportunity, and voice. Gen Z did not wait for politicians to give them a future. They stood up and started shaping it themselves. And that is how Gen Z shook the government of Nepal.